Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dacob in Between. Today, we're going to be talking, the in between of fashion and Kanye West, Louis Vuitton, Virgil Abloh. May he rest in peace. Is Kanye West taking over Louis? Let's get into the details. Subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. Push the join button next to the subscription button. Become a member today. Gain access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon, superdacob all spelled together, for extra perks. Thank you to all my members and patrons who have already pledged. This video is being filmed live in front of a virtual audience. Cue in the chats. Um, Welcome to all my co-chatters. Here you go. I'm going to look at your little. Debs gets a little tickle, tickle, tickle. Jack gets a tickle, tickle, tickle. Barbara gets oh no, where's Barbara's running away from the tickle, tickle. Steven, tickle, tickle. Everybody, tickle, tickle. Okay, so there has been news since Virgil Abloh passed away suddenly. Now, first of all, the suddenly bit. I'm not so sure if Louis Vuitton, the brand, knew because he was ill, unfortunately, and so they, you know, it's like your boss by law, depending which country you're working in. I don't know how the laws in France are, but they're not allowed to question you about your medical situation, right? But I guess if it was so far gone, the illness, I would think that he let them know and that they knew. Maybe they didn't know from the get go, but I'm sure towards the end, I mean, I can just speculate about this, that towards the end they knew. Because otherwise, it's like if you're that sick that you gotta, I don't know if he had to be in the hospital a lot, if he had to do a lot of therapy, like you're away from work a lot. So the company that you're working for, and especially if you are in such a high position, being an artistic director, like if you're missing that much from work, like they realize that something's going down. I'm not saying this in order to speculate whether or not it was a good thing to hide it or not hide it. I'm just saying this because I'm trying to figure out if Louis Vuitton knew way ahead of time, if LVMH knew way ahead of time what was going to happen, if they knew way ahead of time that Virgil had a deadly disease that was not going, an uncurable disease, and how far in the past did they already know about this? Hence, how much time did they have to plan out their next step? Who they are going to hire instead of him? This is what I'm trying to figure out. Now, then, of course, Virgil and Kanye, or I mean, Yeezy, Mr. Ye. So they were friends, right? And the speculation started around a week ago. People started seeing, fashion news were reporting about the fact that Kanye West might take over the position that Virgil Abloh had at Louis Vuitton. Now, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this is a good idea, Louis, because honestly, the experience that I know of, that where the brands he worked with, bigger scale, there were always issues. He might be, listen, matter of taste if you like his music or not, if you like his shoes or not, if you like the Yeezy collections or not. It's just up to you. You do you, boo. But he's complicated. You could call him a genius if you want, if you want. But you could say, well, geniuses have their own way of working. You can't. They tick on another time. Yeah, okay, they tick on another time. But a company's a company, and it works through numbers, not through mood swings. And such a huge company like Louis Vuitton, under the guidance and ownership of LVMH, money does the talking for them. Now, maybe 5 to 6 years ago, had they hired Kanye West 5 to 6 years ago, maybe I would have told you it could have made sense because he was more poppin', boppin', and hip at the time. Even for the fashion world, he was the new thing with his Yeezys and his Ask yourself why he only made one Yeezy clothing collection with Adidas and not more than one. There's a reason for that. Just gonna leave it at that. Um, Now, after so many years have passed, and we've seen how he is when he works with other companies, and we have seen him progress, and we have seen his story, and the divorce from Kim, and that whole, you know, religious stuff, everything kind of just like popping up and up and up, and I'm like, he's a liability, really, for a company like LVMH that work on such tight schedules where you can't just sit there and say, I'm not ready with the collection. I'm going to need another 6 months. So just get out of here. I'm not ready. There is no, I'm not ready. Deadlines have to be met. Factories have to start producing the collections. The collections have to be delivered to the stores. There's deadlines, cutoff dates for production, for delivering the orders, for everything, really, for getting the samples manufactured. I mean, it's easy for fanboys and fangirls out there to be like, well, we love you. We want you. No, love has nothing to do with it. This is about money. The fashion business is ruthless. Ruthless. And unless a company is not ready to hire you, despite the fact that you're a liability to them, that you're going to make them lose a lot of money in production, if they're ready, to lose that money, then go for it. Then I say, well, then you're doing the right thing to hire him. But if you want somebody who takes their job seriously, not from the perspective of a rich, famous person taking their job seriously, but I'm talking from the perspective of a hard worker, a worker with a work ethic taking their job seriously. He ain't the one. He's just bottom line. He has a vision, but that vision doesn't correspond to the lead times you need to produce a collection. It's just that they're two different worlds. So his end result might be amazing, but then LVMH might be getting one collection every 5 years instead of 4 collections a year. This is the point. So I'm not saying I wouldn't want to see what he has to show. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, well, I'm not saying anything. I'm asking, is LVMH ready to not get their lead times respected? Are they ready for that? Do they have the budget for that? For sure they do. LVMH is a huge company. They can just take the money from some other company and throw it into LVMH. And also, quite frankly, as a personality, fame-wise, it would have made more sense to have him there 5 or 6 years ago, not now. So I don't know, you guys, whatever, people are. They're going to chop me up in the comments anyway. Let them chop me up. It is what it is. What do you guys got to say? Too much of a loose cannon, says Blonde and Chatty. Debbie says, oh, you know, don't know how many companies are ready to gamble tons of money, especially after the lockdown. To each their own. You know what I'm saying? Yes, but no, says Kanye would be great for a laugh at LV. Now listen, you guys, don't like to throw shade at him just for throwing shade at him. I mean, Kanye has interesting vision and a very clear aesthetic, but it didn't evolve. And this is the point. Like, it worked when he did the first Yeezy clothing line, not just shoes, but the whole clothing line with Adidas, Yeezy season 1. Remember when Vanessa Beecroft, very famous female artist, also photographer, he worked with her. He didn't invent anything. Whoever is his advisor team, they advised him correctly by telling him, hire Vanessa Beecroft to do your installation for you. If you don't know who she is, look her up. She's been around before Kanye was even born. You know what I mean? So it's not like, oh my God, he made her famous. No, Vanessa Beecroft was already famous before he was anybody. So That combo of, models just standing in the room frozen and like slightly dead in the look, and that kind of whole shtick of it instead of a performance, because Vanessa Beecroft comes from performance. That mood, that combination of models standing in the space dressed with those clochard type of clothes, combined with the fashion momentum of the time of 2014-15, that worked. It really did work. It did take him triple the amount of time to get there, though, and Adidas did not like that. All the money they had to spend on redoing samples, because he was never getting there. But he finally got there. The results were amazing, but there was only one collection. Then Adidas said, "Girl, we're done. Thank you. We could keep doing the shoes, but not the clothes." And then he wanted to leave as well, but that's a whole other topic. But it worked. That Vanessa Beecroft installation image of models standing in the space just not moving, and that was the fashion show. It was cool for back then. But now it's like, okay, well, what's next? Is there something next? Do you have the time to develop something that is next and fresh and new for fashion? Because fashion is hungry. It's a monster. It wants to keep eating new stuff. Are you ready to keep producing so quickly? To put aside everything else, your whole other career, and just produce for Louis Vuitton one collection after the other? Are you ready for that? Or maybe they're just going to hire him as a name, but then they're going to have their internal design teams design everything, and then he's just going to appear. But then again, he's not the type. He's a controlling type. He's going to want to say, "Wait, I want to prove this. You're not going to I don't want this to be made." So he's going to want to be a part of the process. He's not I don't think he would accept to just put his name on something that somebody else designed without his final approval. So either way you put it, it sounds like a liability. It sounds like something really complicated for them. I don't know if they're ready to spend so much money for this. Debbie says, "Look at those sneakers. They are all the same still." BB says, "I nominate Brendan Westwood. He is young and has a fresh eye." BB also throws some shade. It says, "Guys, Yee is too busy with Kimberly running back to him, especially." Sky Blue says, "Hello, everyone." Hello, sweetie. "I think he would really need a stellar support team. I would be concerned about his focus and discipline." Just keeping it real, you guys. Me too. This is not even like throwing shade. This is just literally brutally honest. This is a concern. To me, it's a liability. Kat says, "Maybe he'll get others to design and then he just has to sign it off." Yeah, but he's not. No, he wants more control than that. The fact that he interned for Fendi tells me he has concepts and ideas in mind. He has a creative mind. I'm not a fan, but the decision makes sense. Well, it's not official yet, so who knows, right? Maybe by the time this video is out, it will be official by then. But as we are filming now, it's still a question mark. A collaboration could be sick. By him in charge full time? No, says C. Lala. Barbara says, "I know that not everyone agrees with me, but to me, Virgil was a creative genius and I simply loved his work. I think it will be very difficult to fill those shoes, and it's a huge, huge loss," says Barbara. Jason says, "Kanye would do good things. The issue would be if he would give 100% of his time. And if they would give him the time to do these collections on his time, meaning giving him the time he needs to do them, not the time that they need to meet their deadlines. That's the bottom line." Abigail Claudeli says, "I won't be school if they do follow along with Kanye, because isn't Louis Vuitton trying to be a hypebeast brand? It could be a smart move. I don't know." Abigail, wait, Claude says, "I won't be shocked if they do follow along with Kanye, because isn't Louis Vuitton trying to be a hypebeast brand?" Yes, but this is why Abigail, you're completely right. I agree with you, but this is why I was hinting at the fact that that's why for the hypebeast moment to work, I think they should have started working with him 6 years ago. Now it's kind of the zenith has been reached. You know. Uh, BB asks if he was Virgil's mentor. Oof, a lot has been. I don't know really. I know that they know each other since a long time and that they have worked in the past together. But up to which extent, who was on top of who, and if they even had that sort of relationship at a certain point of, I think they really felt like they're both equal to each other, but we're not in their minds. We do not know. Jose TP says Yeezy plus Louis Vuitton collab. Jason says Kanye goes through phases, and I think he will give, but he gives season after season. Yeah, I don't know. This is the thing. I don't think he can do it season after season after like that quickly. The turnaround is also too fast. Louis says, can we just put Marc Jacobs back? I would love to see Marc Jacobs return at Louis Vuitton. I totally agree with you. I just don't think the brand wants to go in that direction. I think they feel super comfy conquering the world of all the young teenagers because they're thinking if they get the young teenies now, those kids are going to grow up being loyal fans to the company, to the brand, and are going to keep buying Louis Vuitton even when they get older and when they grow out of their teenage years. If that's going to happen, Pickle Mars says, I respect Yi. I think he has vision, but hopefully he can master his ego. That's a really, really very well balanced comment. Perez says, I wonder how many people in Louis Vuitton would stop him from introducing avant-garde ideas that clash with the Louis Vuitton heritage. That's also a good point. It's a legitimate question, you guys. These are really legitimate questions, and it's like something we can speculate about, but it's really hard to find a solution to these because, bottom line, LVMH has to make the decisions. They're the ones who, bottom line, say, this is going to make us money and profit, because that's their bottom line, or this isn't going to make us money and profit. Or they might just decide, promotion-wise, it's good PR for us to have Kanye here, so let's do it. Even if we lose money, at least our image is going to get boosted. But the image boost, I think, would have worked more 6 years ago than now. Maybe I'm wrong. Could be wrong. Hey, I don't have, it's just my opinion. This would be a terrible mistake. He's a nut, and everyone knows it says modern vintage 31. Chunky Shoes UK says, is Daniel Lee still looking for work? I mean, if he left because he wanted to leave, he might not be looking for work. There might be already a plan set in motion. Now, obviously, this is a good point you bring up because I thought in that moment when it was all happening, when Daniel Lee split up with Bottega Veneta, and I was like, and then just like 2 or 3 weeks later, Virgil passes away, and I'm like, what a coincidence. How close together these two events happened. Too close together to be just mere coincidences. Because we still don't know if Daniel Lee quit or if Bottega Veneta told him to leave. They're not giving us an answer about that. So if he quit, then it would have been like, oh, did LVMH tell him, hey, Virgil is about to unfortunately pass away. Now is the time. Can you get out of your contract there? Come over here. Da, 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 da. And it all happened frantically. So he was preparing to exit Bottega, enter Louis. But then again, we have no announcements yet. So it doesn't seem like that's the case. Maybe they're still waiting to make it look more organic, but it doesn't feel organic to me at all. Who knows? They need to reduce the number of collections per year and get rid of cruise collections. Who cruises anymore? Ryan says, make LV great again, hats. Oh my God, Ryan. Diana Padilla says, these kids ain't loyal to nobody. That's a good point too. But let's see. Some are. I believe. I wouldn't sign off youth so quickly. I do believe in our youth, as hard as it is sometimes. Sky Blue says, he has to be able to move the brand forward and not be a distraction. Yeah, the brand needs that to survive. That's kind of really basics of business, you guys, Draw says, mental health is a delicate subject. We're all entitled to get help and get our lives together. I think the gamble is on how many it would deter versus attract just based on Kanye's brand and perception. It's a good point and a legitimate point. Barbara says, I was watching Tamara's video and she said that her boyfriend worked closely with Virgil. They were both devastated with the news. They were in the US for his show. I would take with a grain of salt what that influencer says in terms of what is truthful and not. Jesus says putting all types of random drawings and stickers on top of the canvas also has very little to do with the heritage of the brand. Jason says T was Daniel Lee did some. Yes, Jason, and I've spoken about that in my pre-show. But we have no proof of that because Jason, you know that as soon as that news hit Twitter, right after the news hit on Twitter, Bottega Veneta, well, the Caring, not Bottega Veneta, the Caring group debunked it immediately. And which made me believe that maybe this is true because, like, why would this company be so quick to jump on this and respond and say, no, 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 this was not the reason why? I was like, oh, you're really eager to debunk this, desperately eager to debunk this. It just makes me more suspicious. You know what I mean? So, Caring said that was not the reason why Daniel left, but we never believe these corporate brands because you know they're never out there for us. They're out there for themselves. And the plot thickens, says BB, right? Jason Martinez says, and T was Kanye was supposed to get the job at Louis Vuitton before Virgil, but was ghosted, and they went with Virgil. But Jason, if that T is true, the only reason why they did that, for me, the logical reason would be because they saw how he was at other brands and how much stress other brands had with him to get the collections done and ready. And they thought to themselves, this is it's risky. We might lose a lot of money. You know. Jose TP says Daniel Lee allegedly is very the R word. I've heard it too from many different sources, but we haven't heard it from the lion's mouth. So I don't know. I haven't experienced him being that way because I don't know the guy. I just heard rumors. Julie says Kanye's antics and personality will overshadow the brand, I think. Julie, this is also a legitimate point, you know. Jam says, ew, Daniel Lee. Yeah, people are not liking Daniel, huh? Jack says, I would enjoy seeing them selecting a new young designer for each season with show, which is kind of what Jean-Paul Gaultier is doing because his brand is still working and he kind of takes, for every time he makes a new collection, he gets new designers to come in and create a collection for the brand, which I think is like so groundbreaking. Why isn't anybody talking about this? Jason says, yeah, it's all just rumors, and Caring clocked it. Yeah, I know, I'm on top of it, but the fact that they clocked it so soon is also sus. The Wintesty says, Lil sus, very sus. Jose TP says, the fashion girls on Twitter were kicking all day about it. I know. It was kind of juicy for a hot minute, but then it was like, Jason says, I'm suspicious too, because the math ain't mathin'. Here, here, girl. Louis says, I've been thinking that Matthew Williamson is going to be the one designing for LV. Matthew? I mean, yeah, he could do it, but I don't see it as a step forward after Virgil. Like that would be kind of like a couple of steps back. Um, BB says, a limited edition Kimberly printed never fool anyone. The shade is flowing. Andrea Myers, I would not buy anything Kanye designed. I'll give. Wah, 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 wah. Jason says, I agree with you, Dacob. Yee is a liability. He's unpredictable image wise. You know. Hey, Kimberly. BB, hey. Aisha says, I like how it doesn't even have to be an actual designer anymore. Oh, you nailed it, Aisha. But you know, Kanye kind of did fashion a long time. He loves fashion. It's not like he's just not a designer. He is. I think the problem with Kanye is just that he's like so powerful and rich and is so spoiled, bottom line. He doesn't really connect to the world the way mere mortals do. So you have to really understand. You have to put aside the fact that you love his music, you love that he's a rebel in many ways, which is really charming in many ways. You have to put that aside and just think business wise for a second here. A company that invests millions and millions and has deadlines, cutoff dates, schedules, lead times, sell-in times to respect. Buyers have to come in. I mean, I worked in the fashion business industry. Like that's why I know all this terminology, all these words. There's like so many. It's not you're not you know he thinks, well, I'm amazing, I'm brilliant, I'm super famous. No matter what I do is going to sell. So just give me the time I need to do whatever I need to do. But that's not how it works in the real world. And also, it's respectless towards other people. I know the fashion industry is really bad in many ways, and it's so wasteful, and it's so bad for the climate. And most of the stuff that's produced, in poor countries, people are literally enslaved and working for no money. And then the brands, they kind of go around that whole stuff by kind of getting the products done outside of Europe, importing everything, just sewing them together, last stitch done in Europe so they could say it's made in Italy or made in France, when in reality it wasn't. So there's all of these legal loopholes. It's terrible, terrible, terrible. Snake pit, really. But bottom line is, if you're like all about me, the ego, like somebody said in the comments, I'm going to do it how I do it because I do it best. And it's going to, I'm like, yeah, okay, girl. But we got couple thousand people working for this brand that depend on their salaries to survive. So you saying, no, I'm not ready now for the deadline, well, then all these people are going to lose their jobs. You see what I mean? If you are the artistic director of a brand, you have that responsibility on your backs as well. Being the artistic director of a brand doesn't mean you're just the genius sitting on your throne. I have an idea now. Write it down, darling. No, you got to roll your sleeves up. You got to get dirty. You got to work. And his concept of work is maybe different than the type of dirty concept work that implies working for a big fashion company like that. It requires a type of discipline that you need to have as a raw worker. Not somebody who believes that they are a genius that's above everything else. Because that creates a disconnect between you and that whole world underneath you that has jobs that they have to do. Because he doesn't have to do this job to survive. You know what I mean? For him, this is something on top to boost his ego. He has already enough money to live another 20 lifetimes. And then some. So this is not a job that he needs. It's a job that he wants. And this is where the core really is, you got to be humble to be able to pull off a job like that and be responsible for thousands of people working underneath you. And if you're not humble enough, it ain't going to go down well. It just ain't. That's the bottom line, you guys. And, Kay Kelly says, they were so close. Maybe Kanye knew. Maybe the two of them had a pact. Oh, I see. Yeah, maybe. Modern Vintage 31. God, can you imagine Ye plus Louis Vuitton Skims collab? Someone would buy it. Of course someone would buy it. Oh my God, the Skims Fendi. Apples 107. Yes, friends are a liability for sure if they try to overthrow the government. Oh, Yee's friends are a liability for sure if they try to overthrow the government. Yeezy Vuitton, says Ryan. And Dragon Boy says, take my money, Telfar, for Louis Vuitton. Apples 107 says, Telfar would be interesting as a collab. And Telfar was also, remember I made a video a couple of days ago about Telfar actually being way up there as like the top brands of 2021 business-wise. So Telfar is actually under the radar in terms of like, it doesn't fall under that radar of Louis Vuitton, Hermès, Chanel, Dior, Yves Saint Laurent, no, but it's way up there. So Telfar is really, you got to keep an eye on Telfar for sure. Jason says, we are talking Louis Vuitton. Oh, sorry, the comment is now gone because it's too high up. Do you think Virgil would have wanted Kanye to step in? I do not know. I cannot speak for Virgil, obviously. And now Virgil is no longer with us, so he can't even speak. So I'm not going to hypothesize how much Virgil might have thought that Kanye was capable of doing this and pulling it off or not. We do not know. Unless Virgil didn't leave some written document that is opened up posthumously that declares that he thinks, otherwise we'll never know. Kate Kelly says they were so close. Maybe Kanye knew. Maybe the two of them had a pact. But the two of them having a pact has nothing to do with LVMH deciding whether or not they want to hire Kanye or not. You know what I mean? Because bottom line, LVMH has to decide. New Louis Vuitton product names, not Alma, not Kendall, not Felicie, but Kylie. Jason says, good point, Kate. If not Kanye, he probably knows who's taking over. BB says, if a non-black gets the job, there will be a riot. I think that's one of the reasons Yeezy is on the list. Kanye is on the list. The thing is, we kind of disowned him, so thank you. Next. Chunky Shoes UK says, what about someone like Heron Preston? I don't know. Paige D says, I mean, I hope he's willing to change his tune in order to truly lead the brand, but I doubt it. Yes, but no says, did Kanye know about Virgil's illness? If they were really, really good friends and super close, you would think he did. But again, I didn't dig deep enough into it. I don't know. I haven't heard or looked for any statements from Kanye in this regard, so I don't know. Ganbaru says, unfortunately, that sense of ego inflation can be worsened by the symptom of grandiosity that happens during manic phases of bipolar disorder. I ain't no doctor, so I can't, comment on that, but Philip Plain for Louis Vuitton says, Jesus, oof, the shade. Jam says, this is random, but what would Coco think of Louis Vuitton and Yee? I mean, we have the mythology of the Alma bag being designed for Coco Chanel. I never saw a single photo of her wearing it, by the way. Mikey Otto says Telfar is a movement. But what would Coco think of Louis Vuitton today? I don't think she would like it. What did she think of Louis Vuitton back in the day? I'm sure she respected it to a certain degree, just because she did not come after them. She did not try to make her version of travel luggage. Luxury travel luggage. They were the ones doing the luxury travel luggage. She didn't go there. She did fashion. She did clothes. So I don't think she saw them as competition. I think she just knew that they were a luxury brand for travel. That's it. Now, introducing to Coco Chanel today, the fashion brand Louis Vuitton, I think she would not be a fan. Jason says, I wanted to know what you think of Olivier going to Chanel in the future. Balmain Olivier or Olivier Polge? He's already at Chanel. Olivier Polge is the perfumer for Chanel. Do you mean the Balmain Olivier? Oh gosh, I hope not. I hope he doesn't go to Chanel. Prince Andrew is available, says Ryan. Jason says, yeah. Olivier from Balmain. Oh, hell no. No. Let him stay at Balmain. Let him stay tight at Balmain. I'm Louis says, for me, good art is when you can see the struggle and the pain reflected in the art. Otherwise, it's just a pretty picture. For some reason, that's what's happening with Kanye, says I'm Louis. Jam says, I wonder if Coco wanted to knock out Christian Dior. LOL. She did. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below about this situation. Either way, we're sharing our opinions, trying to be adults, sharing their opinions, not fans, sharing their opinions. Until next time, never forget to never give up on love. Love you all. See you soon. Take care. Bye.